button there. Okay, welcome back to the Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, everybody. I'm going to pick on Sean. What happened last session, Sean?
What did happen last session? Well, my server thing won't upload again, so I have to upload Firefox to remind myself. Oh gosh, man, I'm bad with ass. The interval 20. I know we had the choice with the choice. We got, I can't remember how we got there. I can't remember what the name of the city is. We got back to it to the city, the major city, whatever that needed our help. Oh, that's right. The guys on dragons made us go there. They said the king needed to talk to us, and so we fought some guys on the way. I can't remember who we fought. And then we got there. We got attacked by, yeah, that's right. It was giant cyclops. And then we basically got a really horrible choice. A bunch of gods were there. We got attacked by the evil god that with lightning on the way in. He's basically traumatizing the city, creating PTSD for everybody.
What are you talking about? That's a pretty good summary there, Sean. Do you remember do you want me to summarize the offers that they make?
Yes, please. I'm dying. I'm tired.
No, that was good. So in the room, we'll bring up these character sketches again so you can see them. First one who greeted you. Whoops, that's the right one. What? There we go. So the first person who greeted you was King Acestus. King Acestus is the king of Mitros, the city you're in. And he basically invited you in because he was in a bit of a deadlock with several different opinions about what should happen. You've learned from Kyra that he's trying to re-establish the Order of the Dragon Lords. And judging by the dragons that accompanied you here, maybe he's onto something. But it almost seemed like he was making a fool of you guys, saying, "Oh, the great heroes of the Oracle are here. They can use their magical, immense power to banish these storms." Maybe in a 6, 7, 8 levels time, maybe you can. But at the moment, you're not nearly powerful enough to do that. The next person who talked was your good buddy Commander Gaius. Remember, Commander Gaius was the emissary for the Order of Sidon during the tragic events involving Cassandra's sacrifices at the Rock of Estor. So he's there as well. And let me just get my notes. See which one he was. So, Gaius demands the dismantling of the Temple of the Five. According to all reports, about half the city of Mitros is going, "Yay, 5 gods!" And the other half are going, "Yay, titans!" And so Gaius says if you've made a strong show that the city is indeed for Lord Sidon, then maybe the storms will abate. That was his suggestion. We can talk about these more once I summarize them, because you have a decision to make. The third person was someone you hadn't met before. Let's spell his name, I'll bring up Azard. Was a character called Chondrus, a tiefling. And Chondrus suggested that inside the city there's a temple of Lutheria, where some females will go there and so-called take on the black robes and disappear into the temple of Lutheria. Cassandra had memories that maybe about half the children's come out, but Chandra thinks it's a good idea because they get a chance at education, they get fed, they get clothed, which is all true, but there is a complication of, well, Yeah, 50% isn't a particularly good survival rate. Also, Queen Velis, who is the literal goddess of wisdom, wife to King Acestus, she said that the five gods, well, the four remaining gods, Mitros sacrificed herself during the First War, would effectively give up a little bit of their power to quell the storm. So Velis would become less than, Cairo would become less than, Vulcan would become less than, and I guess a double whammy on Pythor would becoming even less than its current less than. Um, and those were your three options. Yeah, three practical options since you can't physically destroy the storm.
Wasn't
So,
there something about cows too?
oh yeah, King Gaius and Valus, the king and queen of Mitros, do not get on. They don't like each other. They don't make it hidden that they don't like each other. Their antipathy towards each other is well known. So much so that Gaius just brought in one of his concubines, and she chirped up and said, "Well, why don't we just sacrifice a bunch of oxen?" Um, Gaius immediately shot it down, saying he doesn't have the funds to do that. There would be would take half the livestock in the city and cost in the order of 10,000 gold pieces. And Gaius claims he just doesn't have that. So I guess there's four options on the table. So King Acestus, in the hallways, he says, "Well, heroes of the Oracle, you hear the storm outside? Lord Sidon needs to be appeased. I do not know which option to take. I really thought you would be the heroes that the city's needs. I was mistaken, however. You are not what I imagined. Honestly have no idea why Versa the Oracle even chose you. But one last offer. Can you use your magical hands, your magical abilities, say some type of ritual to quell this storm? Or are you as pathetic as I think you are?"
Can you use your god powers to quell this storm? Or are you as pathetic as the rest of them?
Oh, mind your lip and pay closer attention. I am the king of Mitros. I am married to the goddess of wisdom, but I myself am no god.
And your wife. Whatever, your wife, you're all the same.
Bella says, "Well, this is the offer that I was making. Me, combining my powers with Kyra, Vulcan, and Pythor, we can quell this storm. We can do that. But it will cost each one of us individually quite a bit. And Cassandra, I can pretty much guarantee that 3 of the 4 remaining gods will survive this process. Given your father's current state, I cannot guarantee it. I think he will, but I cannot guarantee it."
Huh.
Is not a very insightful insight, Cassandra. The blood of the gods runs through your veins. You're plainly not capable of quelling the storm on your own. So what option would you take, Cassandra, a daughter of Pythor?
I mean, my vote's towards like the four gods losing a little bit of power to stop this.
Velis
Seems that'll
pipes
have.
up. Even if it means that Pythor might not survive the process.
I have faith in him that he can survive.
Well, if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have done so as well. I mean, I've talked to Pythor. I know the sacrifice he made for you. It cost him greatly. He might not survive. Mind you, he's a stubborn old bastard. I take a lot to knock him out, but it's a concern in the back of my mind. What about you, Corin / Crow? Who am I talking to today?
Hi, it's Crow.
Crow. You've heard the options, Crow. What are your thoughts?
To be honest, I'm kind of more for the sacrificing children thing, but that seems to be pretty,
No,
not
no,
what
no,
everybody
no, no.
else is thinking.
No, it is not
I'm actually with
sacrifice.
you.
It is
So,
not the sacrifice of children. It is giving them an education. This is Chandra saying this. It is giving them an education. It is giving them food. We'll get many of the children from Stygian Row, the poorest of all the neighborhoods. Many children are desperate to get into the teachings of Lutheria. Who wouldn't want to be fed, clothed, and educated? Get that word sacrifice out of your mouth.
I can't take it back. I already put it out in the air.
Oh, I've corrected you. It is not a sacrifice. It is a blessing to these children. Food, clothing, water, education.
Okay, well, now that you're just being mean to me, I don't want to go with your idea. We're gonna go with the other one that everybody else is going with now.
Which one would that be, Crow? Says Chandras.
That's the gods do a little power dance thing and things go good again.
Manda Gaius pipes. Well, these are interesting options. The so-called god dance. I think you should put
Yeah,
some serious consideration into my suggestion. It is a temple. It is a symbol, yes. No one will die.
I'm just gonna stare at him.
Haven't heard from you, Mr. Tethys. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Excuse my voice. So just making sure is if it's not really on the table, we raise 10,000 in gold and then we sacrifice how many cows? Is that still an option, or is that just
Oh, it is
too
an option.
expensive? Because
Um,
big animal sacrifice does.
Yep.
It's always worth having on the table, is what I'm saying. But
yeah, so it's 10,000 gold pieces worth of livestock to sacrifice, which would be approximately half of the livestock in the city. So I think it's about likely to be about 1,000 oxen. You know, huge amount. Would create quite the
cause
puddle.
a famine. It cause quite a famine if we.
But there is a problem of you don't have 10,000 gold pieces, and the king of Mitros claims he doesn't have 10,000 gold pieces.
Tough. I think the temple idea is probably the most sound one, I would say.
Sorry, which one was that? I didn't quite hear you.
The last one, the last one we talked about with the temple.
The temple.
That's the one that the really evil guy wants.
Yeah, the last one, whatever that one was.
Oh, yes. Kaya says, wise words, Mr. Tethys. Indeed, all these things, we all know, Chandras, that people will die in the teachings of Lutheria. And Valis, the beautiful queen. We don't want you to sacrifice. What's wrong with knocking down a few stones? No one gets hurt. Sidon is appeased. And things carry on. One thing you all might have forgotten is you remember Kyra died in the mines of the Mithril Mines. and she reappeared. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but she claimed she was resurrected in the Temple of the Five. So take that.
That's
Take
I
that.
don't want to get rid of it.
Pythia, says Gaius. Surely you agree with me. What's a few bricks?
Absolutely fucking not. The temple is a symbol of hope for the people. So by taking that away and appeasing an evil god, an evil titan, is not the way. I think
Well, now I'm gonna
the
tell.
gods should.
Mhm.
What?
Carry on.
Oh, I think the gods should sacrifice a little of their power, show the people that they actually care for the people of this city, and we shouldn't bend over to someone terrorizing this city. I feel like this is a no-brainer.
I hate to bring this to your attention, says Commander Gaius. Whatever option we take, and we need to take one of these options, it is all an appeasal to Sidon. He will like the gods sacrificing their power to. He will like the Temple of the Five destroyed. He will like the children taking the black robes. All options are on the table. All options lead to the appeasement of Lord Sidon.
But that by the gods showing they're willing to sacrifice for the people, that bolsters their support, and it shows that they put faith in us, the prophecies chosen, to put an end to this destruction that's going around.
By a similar token, says Chartres, we will first ask for 70 children who wish to take the black robes. Now, I'll be perfectly blunt. I do not think we will get 70 children volunteering for the black robes. I cannot say how many, but we will choose from the remaining population those who did not volunteer. So it's kind of a middle ground. Some children will volunteer willingly, knowing that their future will be improved. I don't need to mix words. Some of the children we will choose ourselves. Mostly from Stygian Row, because we feel they don't know this opportunity that they're missing out on. So volunteers for the sacrifice, volunteers for the education at the Temple of the Five, and volunteers from the gods. Do you consider peasants to be less than gods, Kythion?
I don't. And I don't think we should be taking anyone's freedoms away by forcing them to live a life that they don't want.
They don't
And I mean,
know. They don't know that they want it. Once they get fed, educated, clothed, I think they'll
it's
kick
not
themselves for
your
not volunteering.
it's not your place to force people into that, though. If they want to, they can. But I feel like this
Give me
option is the best option to bolster the people against this threat and show that the gods still care.
I know you speak in riddles, says Gaius. What do you say, Finn?
Sacrifice is a part of life. It's supposed to be. It's not something to regret. It's something to aspire to.
I assume you mean the gods must sacrifice themselves?
He nods. Solemnly.
King pipes up. Well, it appears perhaps we have an agreement. Valis, Pythor, Vulcan, and Kyra give up some of their selves. Does anyone disagree with this choice? His eyes lock on you,
Yes.
Cassandra. Oh, yes. Let's hear your opposition. Next.
How much money could you raise of the 10,000? And I'm looking at the king specifically.
See, the problem I have, Nix, is these are difficult times. While we are thundered with rain at the moment, it falls onto dry ground. I suspect there's going to be some flooding in the city and the surrounding areas afterwards. We have not seen rain for some time. Our farmers are struggling. There was a situation with a great boar in the heartlands. That didn't help the situation. The farmers are struggling. The farmers are not providing the stock that they usually do. Therefore, I cannot tax them as much. Therefore, the coffers are running dry. Therefore, I do not have a copper piece to spare. In fact, some of my own money has been used to keeping the city afloat. These are difficult times.
How much of your own money do you have to give to your people and save them?
I'll put it
You
this
ask
way.
strangers from nowhere to come in and save your ass when you have, as you just admitted, your own money. Time to put aside personal wealth for the good of your, or the good of the peasants, or are the peasants not important?
I did not use the word peasants. Chandra said presents, by the way.
Oh.
It wasn't guys. They're not peasants. They are my citizens. I respect every one of them. To answer your question, though, I am personally owed, as such, 2,000 gold pieces from the city treasury. I do not expect to be repaid any time soon, especially with the complications and the nervousness surrounding the end of the Oath of Peace. Like, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what will happen. Neither does anybody. But what I can guarantee is things will change. How they will change, I do not know. So you
Anybody
can
else
get...
notice how he refuses to answer this question? I asked for a number. That's 3 times you've avoided it. Are you going for a 4th?
Why don't you get off your high horse, Nix? I will answer your question directly. As I said, the city treasury owes me 2,000, and I have maybe 1,000 gold pieces in assets I could call upon. So if you could come up with another 9,000 gold pieces, we'll have no more problems.
Thank you. That is the question I wanted answered.
Answer my question. Which of these choices would you throw your weight behind? Get off your high horse and make a decision.
I gave mine earlier, I believe, the kids. I was once on the street, I understand. Sometimes you take risks, sometimes they pay off. Sometimes people disappear in an alley in the night. At least they have a fighting chance.
Andrus nods enthusiastically. Well, yes, you see it quite clearly. Maybe I could have better sold it as a chance for children. Sure, some of them would fall by the wayside, but if they fall, they would just be straight back in they'd be, they start in the gutters. They have a chance at a great life. Some of them will die in the gutters. Some of them will rise above and become leaders of the city. You speak with great insight, Nix. Perhaps you can convince your allies that this is the most prudent decision.
That is only the choice I wish to make. I will not force my opinion on the others.
And Guy says, well, we'll need a consensus. If we can't get a consensus, we'll have to go with the majority rules. But really, it doesn't look good for you, chosen of the Oracle. You can't put together a unified voice. But I'll leave it to you.
We're discussing it. That's how that works.
Well, Crow, what do you think of giving 70 children a chance of greatness?
Yeah, you already asked me that, and then you got mad at me.
Forgive my curtness, but the longer this takes, the more lightning bolts will fall on my citizens, and the more people might die. So forgive my haste, but things are afoot.
Yeah, does the churches have no money? That seems weird. Valis, do you have any money?
Short answer is no. Things, shall we say, are provided for me from the citizens. What Gaia said is quite true. The city is struggling. We've had droughts for over a year now, and the taxes have dried up. But usually, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but Gaius, my idiot husband over there, our marriage is just for show. And I have many suitors coming to me, wishing me to take my hand and drop Gaius's, and they lavish me with gifts. But even these gifts that have kept me a well-kept woman have dried up of late. So to answer your question, it'd be very difficult for me to raise money. Things have dried up.
You're supposed to have a savings account for that.
Well, you'd think a goddess like myself could clean up on long-term investments, but that unfortunately is not how it has panned out.
I have a question also for Valis. What does the destruction of the temple mean for you? Like, is that super bad, or what are we thinking?
I talked to Kyra. I learned what happened in the mithril mines. I mean, the 4 remaining gods. Occasionally some ill fortune happens like that which happened to Kyra. And she was resurrected in the Temple of the 5. So the upsides is, yes, it's only bricks. The downsides, it's a symbol. And the symbols are important. And I can't say for 100% certainty. I'd give it maybe a 50% chance that if Kyra or myself meet with some unfortunate fate, we may or may not find ourselves resurrected in the Temple of the 5.
Right, and is it because it's the physical building, or what? How do you get resurrected there?
Kyra pipes up. Hi guys. Yeah, just kind of happened. Last thing I remembered, I was being eaten by dogs, which was very, very uncool. Didn't enjoy that experience at all. And the second thing, I found myself just lying down in the Temple of the 5, and I got up and I was right as rain. So I'm assuming there's some type of magical things associated with the Temple of the 5. And maybe, here's a theory I have. Maybe, I don't know if this is true, but if you remember the stories I told you that during the end of the First War, the great goddess, the one who stood above all of us, the goddess Mitros, and her mighty dragon Balmetria sacrificed themselves to help bring about the ceasefire at the end of the First War. Where did her power go? Where did her essence go? I mean, we've reached out to her, we've tried divination, we've tried messaging, no response. Maybe, just maybe, whatever is left of Mitros, whatever that is, maybe she's the one behind these resurrections. Maybe she's tied to the Temple of the 5. I don't know. And no, this is very confusing for everyone. There's lots of things to consider. But you guys are the heroes. You guys got this, says Kyra.
Do you think destroying the temple would make the magic go away?
Vala says, well, Kyra's quite right. It is a symbol, and as King Acastus quite rightly pointed out, the city is very much on a knife edge. This could sway and gives the followers of Sidon the impetus they need to take over other portions of the city. Would the power go away? I don't know.
Could we just destroy the temple and say that we're just renovating it, and then put some money towards the temple and renovate it?
Well, as I said, symbols are important. If you're going to half do it, then I'm not sure if that will appease Vulcan. The idea would be to smash the temple and not raise it again. Otherwise, surely the storms will return.
Okay, so that kind of takes that off the table then. Is the king leaning towards any particular option?
Well, the king is, says King Actus. The king is mildly disappointed. Mildly disappointed in all of you. Arguing between yourselves.
Talking about.
Sorry, what was that? What was that? As I die, as King Acastus croaks mid-speech. Excuse me.
I said that's not really the opinion I was talking about. I meant like the options, not like whether you like us or not. I don't think we get along very good.
My option was to put my faith in the heroes of the Oracle. And as I said, gravely disappointed.
Well, yeah, we're just in like the prologue portion of our big like story. I don't know why you'd call us, to be honest. I appreciate it. I appreciate you trying to put your faith in us, but oh gosh.
You're right, Crow. I overestimated you. That is my mistake. I mean, I've heard the rumors on the streets. I've heard rumors that people talk of Nex riding a bronze dragon, and Tethys and Fenn, and all 6 of you riding bronze dragons and riding in and saving the day. Those are the rumors that I hear, that you're going to be the great Dragon Lords. As you know full well by now, I intend to establish the Order of the Dragon Lords. I think you guys are making an absolute mess of it. But to answer your question, which of the options do I prefer? I think the gods, as a symbol, should sacrifice themselves. Well, a part of themselves.
Okay, yeah, no, I think we're on the same page. I think this is just coming from a bit of miscommunication, probably.
You just said what I said.
Yeah, I know. But that's okay. It's better than what he was saying before. Okay. Yeah. Okay, show of hands. Who is thinking of doing the gods do a power dance? I don't actually know what it looks like, so I've just been calling it a dance. I'd assume that's what it is.
Sleepy dance.
It's not a dance.
Oh, dang it.
Yay.
Wow, everybody's hand sure is up in the air right now.
Yeah, say, how you doing hands here?
How you gonna know if people raise their hands?
Oh.
Mine's up. Mine's up.
Because Sanchez is hesitantly up also.
Nex's hand is down.
Can't
How
help
many of
but
them?
ask you at this point, Cassandra, knowing that your father might die if the gods sacrifice part of themselves, you're still willing to vote for this option, says guys?
Well, that's why I'm kind of on the fence about it. And Next made a good point about the children that they'll probably die on the street anyways, and that this might actually give them a good chance.
They're,
So,
they're not all going to be volunteers, though. Chandra
Yeah.
said that. They're going to
Finn is-
force to meet the number.
Yeah, Finn is not going to sacrifice kids.
I
That's a
hate
hard.
to make this argument. It is not a sacrifice.
It is. half of them are not going to make it for sure.
No.
They're not volunteering to go. That's a sacrifice.
It's an opportunity.
For half of them, it is a death sentence for the other half.
An
The
opportunity
odds
they didn't
aren't
know that they
better.
wanted.
The odds aren't better on the street.
Except I'm not
No
deciding to put them on
one,
the
none
street.
of them chose to be on the street.
Yes, but I'm not deciding to put them on the street. I'll be choosing for them to go to this grinder, this 50% grinder. I am not choosing to sacrifice half the kids. Finn's saying that, not Sean, just to clarify.
Yes, no, I understand.
Role play your characters,
Speaking in-
absolutely.
In
Yeah,
sentences?
yeah, just clarifying. No, he can talk sentences. He just doesn't do it very often. This is what he's passionate about, though.
It must be the
he's
headband,
getting
right?
worked up over this.
It
Though.
is.
He says screw the phrases.
Exactly. Exactly. That if I tried to do this in phrases, it would take us all night.
No, I agree with Fen though. It's not the sacrifice thing, more the taking away their agency.
So
Because if they could get 70 willing, I would be down for that. But I'm more down with the gods making a symbolic gesture to the people.
Yeah, that's what I'm into. I don't even think kids can make that choice.
that's fair. So, Fen, you're voting towards the God's power thing?
Yes. I
The
wish we had
God's
another
plan.
option. They all suck, but that would be the one that I would choose.
Okay, and next votes for the opportunity.
Yep.
The opportunity. I like that.
Fantastic word, says Chandras. Opportunity. Should have led with that.
Things are as bad in this city as these people have said. More than 50% of them will die of starvation. So you might be choosing which ones go into the home and have a chance, but you're also choosing that those 70 will remain on the street and that most of them will starve to death slowly and painfully over the next coming months.
How do we say they're going to starve to death?
They're having like a well, I guess
They're
they had a
homeless.
drought and then it's
There's
now
a
it's
drought
rain.
and now there's rain
Drought.
and there's no money in the coffers.
Yeah.
That
a downpour is
city?
a downpour is the last thing you want after a drought, because that leads to flooding, which is what's happening here.
Because the water doesn't soak into the soil.
adults are going to starve in the coming months.
I'm
If you
still not
think
willing to-
children alone on the street will have any chance, you are wrong.
I'm still not willing to sacrifice kids. I don't care if it's half. If it's
Not a
one or the other.
sacrifice.
It is a sacrifice. It is sacrificing half those kids.
It's an opportunity.
There's no chance. There's no chance that all of them.
You have never been one of those children, Ben. I have. It is an opportunity, not a sacrifice.
Finn has been. Where has Finn been? I actually don't know.
What an argument. I give up.
I know, right? Like shit. That's really hard.
What is life? Where am I?
I know.
Cassandra will vote to change Nexus swayed her, and they've kind of guilted her because Pythor already gave up like most of his power to save her, and then she can't really justify asking him to give up more and possibly die. So for that fact alone, she'll vote for the children or opportunity. Sorry.
That's why, yeah.
You guys are having to change your language in the middle of the sentence. It's a sacrifice.
Hey, as people, I am not for this. As Nex, as
Gotcha.
you said, she's
Yeah, yeah. Fair.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this game, right? You don't. I think people's first character in D&D tends to be themselves, but then once you've got
Yeah.
other characters, you get to explore other things. And I hope Nick's the player wouldn't want to sacrifice children, but Nick's the character. Absolutely, it's.
Oh no,
really
the
cool.
gods would be giving up their power if it was up to me.
But you are not Nix, which is a cool thing about D&D.
Tethys, what are you voting for?
So Tethys, are we near the temple? I think
You-
he's
you-
been
you-
sort of like.
You're inside the palace of the king. Like you went straight
That's
to the
not
palace.
but that's not the one that we would destroy.
No.
Okay.
It's. What's up, please?
I'm gonna
It's,
guess
this
one?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Tethys would be. Tethys is not excited about killing kids, which is how he sees it. He would happily just have the gods lose their power, but he's also but he's very interested in like the act of destroying the temple. It's sort of like
Wants to fuck up a
grunge rock.
temple.
It's like a rage against the.
Whose side are you on, bro?
Well, he doesn't have strong feelings towards this god in this temple. He'll go with whatever. He's kind of thinking that destroying the temple might be the path, but I think that's what his view is.
And Pythion, what do you vote for?
God's plan.
Oh boy.
Bro,
Yeah, well, I was gonna go with the opportunity thing earlier, but I got chastised, so I'm kind of leaning with the God power thing now.
you got chastised because you called it sacrifice. It was a mistake.
I don't make mistakes.
That's a lie. You've died twice.
I've only died once. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the God's power thing. I mean, like, they've lived a long time. And,
But
like,
just
this
to
is
be
kind of their
clear,
job.
says Velas, this will not. Well, it will not kill myself. It will not kill Kyra. It will not kill Vulcan. We will be less than before. We'll remain with our divine spark. We'll just be less than. Pythor? I don't know.
Could you not just put a little extra in? Like you three, and then him just put a little bit in?
That is I like your lateral thinking, says Velas. But that's unfortunately not how it works. Pythor will need to be part of the ceremony.
Is there a way to fix you once you're a bit less than?
Do you know how to fix a god, Crow?
Nope, I was hoping you would. You're the goddess of wisdom.
Fair point, Crow. I mean, this is not something we can play around with. We cannot hold our fingers behind our back and say, we'll sacrifice ourselves, but ha ha ha, we have this little technicality that we can get away on. there is no technicalities. We will become less than we were before, and there is no way to return back to, shall we say, full divinity, which we enjoy today.
Most of you enjoy it today.
So, like, sacrificing stuff to you guys doesn't help you?
It does. I mean, I notice when people sacrifice self for my name, it fills me with a great joy, great pleasure. And at this point, Kara says, yeah, when you guys sacrificed that boar to me, I mean, I think I mentioned it to one of you at the time, but that was quite special. Asgard notices these things. But it won't fix the damage done by the ceremony, I'll tell you that much.
And none of you guys can cast magic that like makes the storm go away? I know this is like another question entirely, but I didn't think anybody asked.
Orca gets
No,
gold.
they can't, like directly interfere with it
There's the oath.
because of the oath.
Could they give us gold? That's not directly.
They don't have any.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one has gold. We're all poor.
There are spells that create gold.
Do you
There's a
know
spell
of a
that'll
wizard
control
or a
the-
sorcerer that can do it?
Put it this way. Maybe Crow would know this. There is a spell called Control Wither. It's well above you, and
Yes.
it's an 8th level spell. That would fix the problem.
Easy peasy.
Do we know it just and say when I say we, I mean like the royal we. Do we know anybody that can cast that spell?
No, because the gods, these are gods, right? Get up our level to 8th level.
Can they?
We cannot
8th
cast the
level
spell.
would be like
Master.
level 18.
I know, right?
Just round up to 20 at this point, you know.
And just to piggyback off of what whoever said it, everyone here is comfortable with possibly sacrificing the god who saved Cassandra's life.
100%.
That is
100% I am.
Over children, yes.
Not even that. For me, I think in these trying times, if a god isn't willing to risk themselves, then they shouldn't be worth anything.
Nobody is questioning whether he would risk it. I have no doubt that he would risk it.
In these trying
We are
times,
making the choice.
In these trying times, in this gross cesspot of a city, from what I've learned in my time back in these lands, the people need to see a grand gesture, and we saw that with Cassandra firsthand, but the city will see what Pythor has done for them, and hopefully that will like rally some support away from Sidon when they see what the gods are willing to do versus what the Titans are, like destroying this city. So yeah, I am 100% down with that chance.
Everyone
Dog
else?
agrees. Dog agrees.
Was that Echo?
No, that was my dog.
Sure.
Yep.
He agrees with me.
Yep.
And Fen, you're okay with this as well?
Absolutely. Sacrifice is an act of love and is an opportunity when it's your
Wow.
choice.
Talk about a hypocrite.
What's that? Not for children. They can't choose. They're not ready. They can't choose yet. You can't ask children to sacrifice anything.
They're not being sacrificed. You're choosing to use that word.
I am because I believe it's what it is.
It is not.
We disagree, and that's okay.
You are sacrificing them to the elements.
I am not, because we can work to do what we can do to save them afterwards. I will give everything I've got and all the power that I have for the United Sacrifice. Children are everything. And he looks at Crow.
Right, well now you're making me feel bad.
Not at all. Not at all. Children are our reason for existence.
Yes, which is why we should try to save the ones that are going to die on the street.
We should save them all. First now and then later.
Are you planning to hang out here for the next 70 days? Because I thought we had things to do.
I will do all that I can.
So that's like 3 for the God's plan and 2 for opportunity and 1 for the destruction of the temple. Right?
Is that all of us?
I think so.
Yep.
That's 6. It's okay. Okay,
We're really
actually,
lucky we didn't tie.
I have a question. Is Pythor here? Is he okay with this? I feel like we should actually ask him.
Velis, Queen Velis, the goddess of wisdom, says, he is taking rest at the moment. It's been a traumatic time for him, but I'm sure he'd welcome your company if you wish to seek his advice. He is here.
In the palace?
In the palace,
We don't have
yes.
to run through the lightning?
No, you do not have to run outside.
Yeah, the lightning kind of felt targeted, you know? Not random at all.
Velis says, would you like me to escort you to King Python?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that works, right? Talk to
Follow
him about
me.
it.
And as Queen Velis leaves, she has a whole... Is it right? Retinue? Like people who follow queens around? Am I saying that right?
I think it's a retinue. Isn't
Retinue. Okay. Retinue. So the whole retinue is following her down. There's kind of her right-hand person who's right by her side, and about 10 or so other people just follow her. You get the impression her retinue is just there to take care of her. And one thing you would notice is, I mean, the art that I showed you doesn't do her justice. She is the most beautiful creature imaginable. I mean, all in your individual Cassandras and Crows and everybody have seen beautiful men and women before. Maybe perhaps even smitten by. This is on another level. She is just stunning.
She's a certified baddie, you'd say.
Certified, yep.
Yep. So Velis, with a retinue, goes not that far away from the temple. There's lots of, usually at the palace, usually lots of activity in the palace, like, just servants coming and going. She leads you to a quieter area of the temple. And there, lying in a bed with some attendants, kind of just helping him out. Looks very much like a hospital situation, people kind of bringing him meals and helping him sit up and stuff. He looks just as weak. Now that he's out of this bronze armor that he usually wears, his bronze breastplate, which highlights his massive chest and his massive muscles, he is literally half the man that he was before. And he's quietly dozing in a very comfortable looking bed. Cassandra, would you like me to wake him, or would you prefer to do that?
You got this. He doesn't remember my name half the time.
So Velas goes up to King Pythor, and with his long hair, she kind of brushes it out his face, puts a gentle hand along his cheek, and says, King Pythor, you have visitors. And he flutters his eyes, he opens up, and he goes to push himself up, and it seems more pride that forces them up than the strength in his frail body. He says, quite the honor. Cassidy, my lass, nice to see you.
Just looks at her, told you so. Yeah, nice to see you too, old man.
What do I owe this pleasure?
Well, I don't know if you noticed there's a storm outside.
Yeah, woke me up.
But one of the options that we're discussing is to stop it is the 4 remaining gods sacrifice some of their power to stop it in like some ritual thing. But there's a chance that you'll die from it, and well, that's not really a choice we can make for you. And I feel like you should make that decision if you're okay dying.
Make me an insight check, Cassandra. Here we are, 1 hour into the game and our first roll.
Oh boy.
Okay. Thank you, Cassandra. I appreciate you rolling that dice for me. As you were.
What's your take on this? That not really a decision we should be making for you.
I know of this ritual that the 4 remaining gods will need to do, and it will cost us. Lad, alas, I'd be more comfortable making this decision if I feel you've learned the lessons that I've tried to teach you. What have I told you time and again, Cassandra?
To use my brain.
Close. Keep going.
Oh God.
Back in
God damn it.
Astoria, you idiot. Right when I brought you back to life, what did I say to you?
I can't remember. It's so long ago.
It was about a week ago, you daft bugger. Do you not remember?
No, I don't.
Play it. Okay. He emphasized that he failed during the first war. The only thing he could do, the best he could do, as the other gods, the best they could do was a sacrifice. And he was desperate for someone to finish off the things that he did not finish. Does that ring a bell now, Cassandra?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was what he's trying to teach you, that he failed. He wants you to do the things that he could not.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll say the Cassandra knows that, even though the player might have skipped the player's mind. So Pythor says, lass, look, I know that this ritual that they're bringing up, I know it'll cost me. Quite frankly, I might die. I don't want to die. Even I'm about half the man I used to be. But I'd be a lot more comfortable knowing that someone's there to do the things that I could not do. You remember that now, right? When I fucking saved your life and you've forgotten it.
I didn't forget you saved my life. I would never forget that. I'm forever grateful that you did that.
I said, I'll backtrack a little bit because Cassandra remembered. So yeah. So you didn't forget, I think. So Cassandra remembers. So just remember the lesson I taught you, right? I fuck things up time and again. Don't want it to happen again. No more fucking ceasefires. This thing needs to be settled once and for all. I can't do it. Even in my prime, I failed. You gotta sort this shit out, Cassandra. You and your allies.
We will get the job done. We won't fail you. And I won't fail you.
You'll finish the things that I could not. No more fucking ceasefires, right?
Nope. I will put them all on the ground.
Spirit lass. Now, there is a chance I'm gonna die. Don't want to die. But if I do die, I'm gonna need you to do me one more favor.
What's that?
Remember your sister Honora, right? Your sister who was due to be sacrificed on the Rock of Estor before you made a deal with the guys. If I die, she should definitely become Queen of Astoria, and you need to throw as much support behind her as you can.
I will do all that I can to make that happen.
King takes a big breath. All right. So this is happening? This has been decided? I'm up for it.
There we go. That sounds good. Great. I think we're going with that one then, right, guys?
That's what the group wants.
Yep.
I think so. I think half of us are muted, so we're gonna just go with that.
Is everyone sticking around for the ritual, or are the other people, not us, not the group? I know we are,
Okay.
but like the no,
like how
the
rude.
I can't remember their names.
Yeah, Chondris,
They
had
Velas,
all the
Aristus,
ideas.
Gaius,
Yeah.
they will be witness to whatever
Okay.
however the sacrifice looks. Cassandra. You see, my legs have cramped up. And I'd normally march over there myself, but do you mind giving me a shoulder to lean on as I head back to the central area?
Yeah, I got you. She'll go over and help him.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say even we'll just keep you at 5 inside. He doesn't have cramp in his legs. He's just old and stubborn and can't really walk well. But he's not old, he's sacrificed a lot for you. Well, he is old, he's over 500 years old, but, you know, old in the human sense of grey. He doesn't look old. Well, a week ago. He's a mess, that's what I'm trying to say. So leaning high, hard on your shoulder, but... So you're okay there, Cassandra? I'll steady you. It's all right, things will be okay. And he's pretending that you're leaning on him. But he's not fooling anyone. And he marches, stumbles, leans on Cassandra, and heads back to the king's palace. King Acastus is there and says, "So, have the heroes of the Oracle finally made a decision? What's it going to be?"
I think the gods are gonna do the god power thingy. Like, apparently it's not a dance.
The gods' plan.
Yeah, there we go.
Shouts out to Drake.
So be it. Kyra firmly grasps the hand of Velas. From somewhere else in the temple, Vulcan, king of the forge, arrives, and he sees what's Cassandra doing. He sees that how much pride Pythor is in, and Vulcan says, "Ha! Pythor, remember that time when that dragon bit me in the leg? I've had that nasty limp ever since. Now, would you mind giving me a hand over here?" And Pythor says, "Oh, of course, I will support you, Vulcan." Once again, they're not fooling anybody. It's all a matter of keeping King Pythor's pride in place. The king, Acestus, Gaius, the concubine, everybody goes silent, and all eyes turn to the 4 remaining gods, possibly 3 remaining gods. And they walk up the kind of central spire of the king's palace to get to the highest point, and everybody follows, including the retinue, the people pushing decisions, Commander Gaius, the tiefling Chondrus, everybody, the concubine, they all follow up, and they do it in silence. And they get to the top, and the top is exposed, and lightning, thunder is still raining down. And they all kind of form a circle with all 4 hands. I reach their hands to the sky, and like a bright beam of light just whoosh, shoots up into the eye of the storm, and the clouds fade to white, the lightning and the thunder stop, and the rain stop. And Valis, Pythor, Kyra, and Vulcan collapse to the ground. Did King Pythor die? This is going to be up to the fates. I'm going to make you roll this, Cassandra.
Oh god, I'm gonna kill him.
So there's a 50-50
Shitty dice.
chance. A 50-50 chance. Let's roll a d20 and roll high. 11 to 20, he survives.
I'm gonna kill my dad with a nat 1, I hope. Oh, hey, let's go.
Oh.
Living on the edge.
He survives. Okay. Yeah, but none of them are moving. You do see the Pythor's bony chest rising and falling, so he survived it. What do you guys do?
Right, we should probably call for a doctor. I'm gonna go call for a doctor.
Okay, you go call for a doctor. A cleric arrives. Checks him out and says, yes, they're fine. Or they're alive at the very least. And she puts some smelling salts under all the guards' noses, and they all kind of start awake, except for Pythor. Despite the smelling salt, he's still fragile. Well, wow, says Kyra. This is done. We did it. I don't know what to say. Let's just go back to the central chamber. And some of the town guards, they pick up the limp body, the breathing body of Pythor, and bring him down and take him back to the under bed rest effectively. And as they're heading down, people, even King Acestus and Gaius, look a little shocked by what has happened to the gods. And as Kyra is walking down the stairs, she pulls you guys aside and says, guys, can I have a quick word with you? Just quickly before we go down. That really, really hurt. I feel terrible. It's hard to say this, but I can't travel with you guys anymore. I just don't have it in me. Maybe in time, yes, but I'm gonna have to get over this. It cost a lot. I really love you guys, and I want to continue to document your adventures, but kind of fucked up.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, you did just die like yesterday too, so
Mm-hmm.
that's like two things in one day.
Well, quite frankly, the dying was less traumatic than what just happened on the roof. I mean, that blue beam that you saw, that was power leaving us to quell the storm. I feel terrible. I feel terrible because of the sacrifice I made, and I feel terrible because I'm not going to be there to support you guys. I'm not going to be there to sing my songs. And I feel really bad about that.
Well, you can always join us when you're feeling better. Um, yeah.
I mean, I would love to when I feel better, but I mean, you all knew what to do, but this has never been done before. I mean, the Oath of Peace is about 70 days away, something like that. I don't know if I'm going to be ready. I mean, I'll try. I'll keep on taking my charcoal tablets and eating lots of fruits and vegetables and some steep teas. I just don't know. But
To be
regardless,
honest, we're in the same boat.
why, you feel like shit too?
Well, no, not like that, but like, are we gonna be ready, sort of way? Cause like we couldn't even do anything about the storm either. How the fuck are we supposed to do shit?
Number one, don't talk shit like that. You guys are awesome. I mean, together, Crow, this goes for all of you. Finn, Tethys, Cass, Nex, Crow, Kythion, you're all a bunch of idiots. You don't know what you're doing. But together,
Mhm.
you guys are effing awesome. You took the oath of friendship, and that's the best thing that I think that's ever happened to you guys. You guys are much, much greater than the sum of your parts. So don't talk about yourself like that. You're going to do great things.
Yeah, we're not individual idiots, we're a group of idiots. We
Group of
got this.
idiots doing heroic things.
Right. Well, I kind of meant it in the way that like it's gonna take. We only have 70 days to get strong.
I believe in you.
Um.
Well, yeah, I guess I have 70 days, hopefully less, to get strong as well. I see what you mean now.
Mhm.
But I'm going to miss you guys, regardless. And she just leans in and crushes Crow in a big hug.
I'll hug her back.
Okay, guys, I really need this. A group hug. Everybody come in. Everybody come in. Is everybody coming?
Yeah, group hug.
All right, group hug.
That's out friendship.
Yeah, and you see tears are streaming down Kyra's eyes. She's not like sobbing, they're just naturally flowing. And she kind of wipes them up and says, okay, guys, I'm not going to say goodbye, but I'll see you guys later, okay? Need to go for a lie down.
Enjoy your nap.
Yes. Stumbles her way down the rest of the stairs. Okay. As you go down into the central area where people have gathered once again, the king, his concubine, Queen Valis, even though she's slumped in her throne when normally she stands up with such pride and her shoulders back, they're all very obviously hurt by this. King Acastus looks pleased, however, and he says, excellent work. I knew I could trust you to handle this matter. All these bickering voices in my ear, and you made the decision that needed to be made. And I applaud you for your courage. I knew you could handle this matter. And I don't necessarily regard this as a reward, more like a gift. And he pulls out a rolled parchment out of his cloak and hands it to you. This map will lead you to the last known whereabouts of the ship, the Ultros. It was my ancestor's ship, the legendary vessel of Estor Archelander, fiercest of the Dragon Lord. There was a time, I admit, when I thought I might claim it for myself, but I have no need for it now. I have my dragons. Yes, you should know, obviously, that I am rebuilding the ancient Order of the Dragon Lords. In time, I will have dragon-mounted warriors under my command. Then we'll have no more needs of heroes and of oracles. We shall drive back the Titans with the power of the dragons, just as my forefathers did. In any case, this map will allow you to resume your so-called great labors. I thank you for the service you have done to my city. You are dismissed.
Okay.
The map, by the way, indicates that the ship will be found over here by the Dead Falls.
Makes sense.
Queen Velis kind of regains some of her posture with her shoulders back and her chest proud, and she says, I don't have to be such a dick, Acastus. They've just saved the city and you're dismissing them. Acastus strikes and says, Come with me, heroes. And she starts walking away. She doesn't wait for you guys to accept that. She just expects you to. Are her expectations correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Follow pretty late.
Sure.
Follow baddie.
Okay, with Malcolm's word of the day, retinue, you follow the queen back to her chambers. She's accompanied once again by a retinue with many scribes and servants as white. And you see on her desk there's lots and lots of bits of paperwork. And it doesn't take a genius to know that King Acastus is very much focused on restarting the Order of the Dragon Lords, while she's taking care of the day-to-day running of the city. And she sits down on Shay's Lounge. Am I saying that correctly? You know, one of those things where it's kind of half a couch, half a seat. Sit like this.
Yep.
Oh, cool. So she sits down on one of those. And she says, my husband is a dick. Let's make no bones about it. He wanted to marry a goddess, and during the time it seemed like a good idea to me. But I regret it. But Littlewood, that's a son of a bitch, know that I'm going to outlive him by hundreds of years, so I have that in my favor. Now, my king, well, let me ask you this first. Why do you think the king was so generous with his map to the location of the Ultros? What do you think?
Probably because he doesn't want to do it himself? Oh. Gaetian, what did you say?
Oh, I thought he wants us out of the city for whatever he's planning.
Oh. That sounds very likely as well.
And Kythion? Crow? That could be well true. The question is, why hasn't he claimed the Ultros himself? Sure, he claims about wanting to re-establish the Order of the Dragon Lords, but nothing would strengthen his claim than being in possession of the Ultros himself. No, he's not sending you as a gift, sending the Ultros, the map of the Ultros to you as a gift. He expects you to go there and die. As we all know the story of Esther Archelander, due to a bargain he made with Lutheria, he can literally never die. There is nothing you can do that will physically harm him. Well, physically harm him, yes, but he will not die of the wounds. And this is why he has never done it. It will, in his opinion, almost certainly be your downfall. Because how can you kill someone who can literally never die? Thoughts?
Weren't we told that we kind of needed it?
Yes.
Okay. Well then that's what we got to do.
A lot of.
Sorry, Karen.
Oh no, nothing. Sorry, I was just thinking out loud.
And just further to Crow's point, this is the vision that you saw when you drank from the horn of Balmitri, when you eventually got it.
I was gone that session. Okay.
Oh, well, this is the first time you're seeing this, then take your time.
Yeah, we kind of need it. We like saw a vision and stuff. That's pretty like up there as far as things that need to get done.
Yeah, and not to put too fine a point on it, says Queen Valis, but Versi has not been wrong. Everything she said come to pass has come to pass, that heroes would arise, that heroes would reclaim the weapons of the Dragon Lords. They would relight the Mithril Forge. And indeed, you have drunk from the bottomless dragon horn. Well, I don't know what you're going to do, but it seems destiny awaits you with the Ultros.
Yeah. So we kind of have to do it. Like it doesn't matter if it's gonna kill us, right? I've already died.
Well, your bravery is to be applauded, Crow. Even death did not stop you. That's amazing. I guess my main point, you probably might have worked this out already, is my husband is a dick. In his opinion, he's sending you to your death.
He's probably gonna get pretty pissy if we prove him wrong.
Well, nothing could make me happier. Now, a couple of other things I wanted to mention to you. My husband was quite correct. There are deep divisions in Mitros. Things are on a knife edge between the Order of the Temple of the Five Gods, and the Titans. With what the gods, myself included, did today, I think it will sway it more in our favor, which pleases me. Now, as I said, as many people said, symbols are important. I'm not sure if you've seen the signs around town, but the great games are about to come to the city. A test of strength, a test of honor, a test of many things. You can rush to the Ultros if you like, or you can stay in the city for a time and compete in the great games, which will take course over 3 days. There's jumping competitions, running competitions, discus competitions. And let's just say that if you competed and that you won, that would be a great symbolic victory for the Five Gods. What do you think?
Like, when does it start?
The day after tomorrow.
We have 10 weeks. And we'd be spending almost a whole week here. Just saying.
2 days is not a whole week. Oh, you're right.
You said
5
it's
days.
3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The decision is
Is
yours.
are there like any prizes for winning this event?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's gold, silver, and bronze medals held out for every event, and they're quite valuable. Some poor people, well, but say people of less affluent means, end up selling the medals. So they're in it purely for the money. Other people are there purely for the honor and will keep the medal that they won and effectively hand it down for generations to come. So you can make money from it, or you can make honor, and of course you might end up with neither.
Right. And how much do those things sell for?
300 for the gold, or 300, 200, 100 for the gold, silver, and bronze. And there are people that would buy them. In the same way that
I
people actually buy Olympic medals and Super Bowl rings in the real world. Why you'd ever want to buy something like that is beyond me. Like, you didn't earn the gold medal, you didn't win the Super Bowl, but people still buy them.
mean, I'd be down for the cash alone. Since my grandpa said to finish my weapon that is needed to like do our prophecy, I need like 10,000 gold, so this would be a good chunk out of it if I could win a bunch of these events.
Yeah, I'm down too. There's some stuff I want to find out in this city.
Nothing else, we can get information in between events and waiting for it, and Kuro says she needs spells, and I'm sure we could all use some gear upgrades before we head out to our
Crow,
fight.
I forgot to mention this, but I have the opportunity for you to not so much buy some spells, but to earn some spells. To the north of the city is the Great Academy, which is this area right here to the north. Whoops, that's Astoria. Not an Astoria. Get out of there, Astoria.
Very confused.
Get over, Demetrius.
Okay.
Up here. Round where this number 5 is. That is called the Academy. So if you head to the Academy, there are some people there who would very much like to debate you on moral issues, about seeming paradoxes and other things. If you presented yourself there, you'd get many debates. And I think if you did well in the debates, they would reward you with some spells of your choice. So that could be how you get some spells.
Okay, that sounds good. I like not spending money.
Keep in mind, it'll be more like a debate. So get your thinking cap on, Crow.
Oh no, I'm great at debating.
Okay, well, great. Kythion, I couldn't help but hear you say you had things you wanted to accomplish in the city. Could I be of assistance?
Yeah. I want to know where Lord Gaius lives.
Lord Gaius does not live in the city. I will point out that King Caius is literally the head of Sidon's armies. King Gaius is here under the oath of hospitality. No harm will come to him.
Oh no, I'm not trying to kill him or anything. Just
Be very careful. The oath of hospitality is a strong one. I will tell you though. He lives in an island. His main operations out in the Cerulean Gulf.
That bitch would.
Yes.
Ugh. God.
Is it
Somewhere.
also in the giant circle?
Yep. somewhere in the, well, more in the Cerulean Gulf off the Forgotten Sea. It's called the Island of Yonder. If you have more violent intentions in mind, then I suggest you do not do it in the city. You go to the Island of Yonder.
I wasn't planning on killing him or anything. I just want my armor back. Also, there is one last thing. I wanted to talk to whoever about who's running the whole thing
Which the
in
whole
this
thing.
city. Like, where are they getting their eggs?
Vala says, well, that would be me. Responsible for all the trade. I mean, they get eggs from the surrounding farmlands. It's not complicated.
No, the dragon eggs.
Oh, dragon eggs! Oh, wow! I, as I said, well, here's the weird thing. A while ago, not that long ago, King Acastus acquired himself some dragon eggs. He refuses to tell. Now, anybody who knows anything about dragon eggs is it takes a while for them to grow up. King Acastus has done something to his dragons to artificially age them. But it's only artificially aged their bodies. It's almost like they still have the mind of a child. And there's one you probably didn't notice as you walked in, but perches the special place on the king's palace itself. I'm sure to have some words for you when you leave. But King Acastus has been raising, artificially in my opinion, these dragons. But to answer your question, Kai, I don't know where there are dragon eggs.
Okay. Good to know.
Does anybody else have any questions for me? I mean, I'm quite tired and I really would like to lie down.
Nope.
No.
Might I ask one more favor from you? The Sidon may have been pacified this time, but the Titans, I feel, should pay a price for their cruelty and impudence in attacking this city. I myself are oath-bound not to do it myself, and while attacking the Temple of Sidon itself would be far too much of a provocation, what I'm going to ask you to do is to investigate the cult of Lutheria. I'm going to ask you to come up whatever means you can to strike up some type of blow against the cults. I'm not sure how you could do that, but if you're interested, I suggest you investigate the Temple of Lutheria in Stygian Row. Maybe you can find some way to undermine the gods that way. And a mysterious number 20 appears on the map, and whoever's putting that blue stuff on, this is number 20 is the Temple of Lutheria.
We'll ask if there's a orphanage in town.
There is an orphanage. Yes, there is. It is indicated by number 20 on the map,
Okay.
i.e. the Temple of Lutheria.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be the closest thing. Yep, be the Temple of Lutheria, number 20.
Okay, thank you.
It's not the king's palace.
Okay, What do you guys do?
What time of day is it?
Early evening. If you remember, you rested in Astoria, then spent the day traveling here, and then a lot of happened
Yeah,
since
bucket
then.
best one.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
bucket best
still
one.
pretty beat up.
I got 2 HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lightning really hurt.
Yep.
I feel fine.
We want where we
Um,
where we staying the night?
Oh, please, says Velas. I'll have some rooms prepared for you. You're most welcome to stay here for the night.
Nice. Sweet. Ah, ah, ah,
What's that, Dracula?
Okay, so very nice beds, possibly the nicest beds you ever slept in. Happily, people, street merchants, grown up on the streets like Nex did apparently. Beautiful. Breakfast in bed even. It's a pleasant sleep. Crow, you're still at minuses since you died. Right? So you're at -3 now or -2?
Who, me?
I don't know what I said, but I meant Crow. Did I say
Okay, no,
Kyra? Did I?
I'm nope. Crow is fine. She didn't get a minus.
Oh, didn't she?
Nope.
You should have got a minus. So,
Oof.
because you died and came back in the same way that Cassandra was suffering, Cassandra, you're at no more minuses. But we'll just say
Yeah, I got rid of
Kyra,
them last week.
you're at minus. Kyra. Crow, you're at -2 for all rolls. Like anytime you roll a d20,
Boy,
subtract 2 from it because you died. And every rest you take, it will reduce by 1. But you wake up in this warm bed feeling slightly less beat up. Not level 2 exhaustion. It's just
Yep,
literally
I'm
-2.
just,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
It's the
trying
way
to
of
see if
noting it.
it'll, yeah.
You wake up in the
So
morning.
it's been 2 days since we were in.
Well, you died in the Mithril
Astoria?
Mines,
Or
and then you traveled to Astoria. You rested in Astoria, which takes it -4 down to -3. And now you're resting in Mitros, so now it's -2.
okay, so
The morning is yours. No, actually, not morning is yours. As you take a short rest, let's take a short rest. I need to quickly do a couple of things, so let's
10 minutes.
come back in five or so minutes. See you guys in a bit.
Yep.
Okay.
And
guys wake up. Oh, actually, let me just check something. Oops, that's not the right button. There. Okay, no, you're good, as you were. So you woke up refreshed. Spell slots back, hit points back. Crow still feeling a little shitty, but the day is yours. What do you do? So basically, you could do whatever you like today, and then the games would effectively start on the next day.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
guys, what do you guys want to do? If Finley wants to go down to visit the orphanage, he can do that on his own.
Apparently, I've been told to go argue with some old people at the academy.
Some nerds, I think she said.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'll go and argue at Nerds with you.
Okay.
Wait, is this
That's okay.
Crow or?
Yeah, it's Crow. Hi.
Oh, hey, just checking.
Just kind of might pay to do the academy stuff first, because Crow or Corin, one of the two, is not going to be with us next week. So,
Okay.
this is revolving around Crow and her spells. Maybe we'll do it that way.
That's cool.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Stay in.
Depending on some other things, we may or may not end up doing the games next week. Just depends on some factors. But we'll see. It'll just be nice to have Crow as part of the games as well, because quite interesting.
I will say I don't know what Crow would be capable of doing in the game.
Crow is so athletic.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
She's
cheerleader, maybe.
No, I'm playing.
well, let me show you. I have something for you. Here's something I prepared already. And I'll just post it into Discord. Oops, not that one, this one. Have a look at that.
Great games.
Now, it probably looks like a bunch of nonsense at the start. I'll wait for a moment for you to guys open it. Notice you have representatives, the heroes of the Oracle.
Boxing.
What's that?
There's boxing?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I
the
want to
main thing,
do that, guys.
the main thing I wanted to show around this is it's not all just feats of strength. Like poetry, for example. Strength's not going to help you with that. So a lot of them are varied. They're all not just athletic brute defense. Some of them require dexterity checks, and what it comes down to is things is usually like a dexterity check plus a saving throw. So two kind of things combined. So, like Cassandra is the muscle of the group. She's not necessarily going to excel in all of them. So, that's something to keep in mind. Like riding, horse riding, maybe Crow could be good at that. All sorts of things, but we'll get into that when the time comes. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so you head out of the king's palace, presumably a really casual jaunt to the north. As you leave the king's palace and enter the busy streets of Mitros, you hear a deep reptilian voice chuckling to itself from above you on top of the king's palace. Deep reptilian. So the opposite of what I tried to impersonate. You do?
Uh, is it like a person around us? Is that what that is, or what's the reptilian thing?
You look behind you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Come on, I need to call you Kyra. Who are you today? No, you're Crow. Crow, yes. Crow, you
Crow, yeah,
turn
Crow.
around and you see this huge to you. It's a huge dragon lying on this kind of platform that almost looks as if it's been custom made for it at the top of the bellis. As this massive reptilian silver form slinks around, and you notice he's literally lying in a bed of silver coins. At a rough estimate, it's in the tens of thousands of silver pieces. And this dragon is just lying on top of them, and its long serpentine head comes down and gets right in the face of you guys and says, "What do we have here?"
Hi, I'm Crow.
Crow. I like eating birds. They don't fill me up like I used to. Can I have just a little bit of a nibble? Would that be okay?
Not at this moment.
Oh,
I
you
think
look
that's all
so...
right.
That's fine. I'll accept silver pieces in place.
In place of what?
In place of eating you, of course.
I don't think you're allowed to do that. We're guests here.
Oh, and I guess you should pay proper respect to the king's dragon, which is me. Give me some silver.
Does this sound like an actual custom or what to Crow?
Make a history check if you like.
Oh, I don't know what I clicked. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
well, +7. Fantastic modifier. Shitty roll, but a fantastic modifier. Well, you know for a fact that he is literally sitting on a bed of silver. He must have got the silver from somewhere. He's not doing gold. You get the... you're erring on the side of it's like a tradition, but you're not entirely convinced of it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll pop him a silver coin.
Oh, just the one? You could do better than that.
Not really.
What about you? And the dragon head switches to Finn. Surely you've got some silver on you.
Yeah, they give us some silver.
No, I said some silver, not a silver. Do not speak
How much is
common.
some?
Do you need me speak to you slowly and deliberately? Gold, silver, pieces.
He has some too.
The literalist, I see, so pathetic. You're like a little baby with your actions. What about you? Focuses on Tethys. I know you satyrs love the silver. Give me some. Gimme.
He's not here.
Isn't here?
No, he'd leave.
Tempest
He'd early flight, he said.
Oh, I didn't see that. Well, Tethys gets away with not paying anything. Oh, yeah, there we go. Been gone for half an hour. Okay, next. What about you? You must have some silver. But don't make me come down there and get it off you.
I don't think you will.
You calling my bluff? There's no bluff, friend. I don't muck around. You can make an insight check if you like, Nix. See if you can see if the dragon is indeed bluffing. Once again, a similar way with a middling roll. You're pretty sure he's just being a dick, but you're not entirely sure. But I think I know if Nix is kind of sure about something, especially these type of things. I suspect I know which way he's going to go. But that's what you think. Probably a bluff.
You're not eating citizens or guests of the city. Take your grift. Can't grift a grifter. Take it somewhere else.
Wow.
What's your name?
What's yours?
Icarus.
Nexfaria.
Well, Nexfaria, I'm going to make a note of your name. And let's just say when things change, when the Oath of Peace ends, I'll be keeping my eye out for you.
I look forward to it.
We'll be seeing you, Mexfrilia. I know I'm saying it wrong, but the dragon said it wrong. It wasn't me. Seems to have forgotten your proper name already. The demigod, Cassandra. The blood of broken Pythor runs in your veins. You must have some silver to spare.
I only carry coppers on me. Nobody ever asks for coppers.
You're the heroes of the Oracle, and you're as poor as a beggar. That's hilarious.
I know, it's hard times.
Oh, hard times! The heroes of the Oracle are having hard times. You hear this, everybody? The heroes are poor. Ah! That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
She just like slow blinks at him and keeps walking.
What's Finn doing? Is he staying around, or is he following Nix and them out, or what's he doing?
He's probably following. Crow. He's following Crow around, I guess. He's in the back of the group, just kind of watching their back. He's just kind of designated driver in his mind.
Okay, the Icarus just effectively grows bored of your company and goes and snuggles into his silver pieces. Now, I hope I did a good enough job there that it's the mind of a child, body of an adult dragon. So if I didn't do a good job of convincing you that, then that's the vibe you got. That's maybe Malcolm's wasn't the best RP. But anyway, that's what the impression you get. It is a very immature creature. Okay. Now, as you're traveling through the streets on your way to the academy, as you leave the palace, you recognize that people everywhere are watching you with great interest. You hear excitement chatter among the crowds. Look! It's the Oracle's chosen ones. The heroes of the Heartland. They've come to meet us to save us from the Titans. Several merchants approached you expressing gratitude for the work you've done to make the road safer to travel. Detachments of centurions salute you as you walk past. As news of your presence spread, more and more admirers crowd around you, vying for attention. Before long, your progress through the city streets has slowed to a crawl. And all of your memories go back to how you're greeted in the story with tomatoes thrown at you, how you're greeted at the sour vintage with a similar type of thing, with people heaping particular scorn on Crow, the doomed one, and Tethys, the cursed one. People hated you guys. Not anymore, it seems. So your progress to the academy has slowed to a crawl. What do you do?
Cassandra's just like shout, make way for the oracles chosen. We are on a grave mission to the academy.
Subtle.
And people say, "Oh look, it's Cassandra. She who sacrificed herself on the rock but somehow survived. Cassandra, Cassandra, over here. Look at me, Cassandra."
I'll look at them and just nod.
With the determination only a mother can have, a mother pushes through the crowd and holds up her baby. Kiss my baby, Cassandra. Kiss my baby.
She'll kiss the baby.
Okay, as you kiss the baby, your lips momentarily stick on this rather sticky child forehead.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
But yeah. Another one comes up. Finn. My name is Glios. Glios. My name's Glios, Finn. Glios.
Ben pats him on the head and says, we see things not as they are, but as we are.
You hear about that? The new oracle has spoken. We see things not as they were, but as they will be. He's misquoting you again. Write it down. The words of the new oracle. He has spoken. Next, a guy comes up to you with some nice leather work, and he's got some kind of a needle and thread dipped in ink. I know this is weird, but this would really increase the resale of this leather armor. Could you just take 5 minutes and kind of stitch your name into this? Next, please. I'll say this guy doesn't look like he's in need of the money. He's quite well dressed.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to know. Before he even approaches, then I will cast. I'll wait for someone to walk in front of me and cast Disguise Self on myself, and kind of just random looking normal person disappear into the crowd, and then I'll try and pick his pocket.
Okay.
Yes.
So he comes forward and says, Nix, can you just, Nix, and he's looking around. Make a sleight of hand check. It's sleight of hand, no advantage. 17. You pick his pocket for, you can roll it, 2d6 gold pieces.
Not bad.
Oh,
yep, pretty
terrible
bad.
roll. Well,
Still.
yeah, keep in mind that farm hands will work for coppers a day.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I was saying.
so 3
They're
gold
really good.
pieces is oh, you could have rolled better, of course, but that is not an insignificant amount of money to the average citizen.
All going towards the weapons.
Good. A blow against the Titans.
Wait, I'm just curious. Did Finn see that? Just curious.
Does
He's
Finn have a passive
disguised.
perception of 17 or more?
22.
You saw a stranger, though, pick the pocket. Not,
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, I'll
You
say
know what
with
to think
the
anyway.
I'll say with the chaos of the scene, with people coming back and forth, it's quite easy for Nex to momentarily disappear in the background, and then appear as somebody else. So while 22 is good, I don't think it's good enough in this case. It would have been interesting to see what Finn would have done. Cassandra! Cassandra! My boy here has just graduated from the Temple of Lutheria. And you see this very, very gaunt boy. He's got He's got the black robes on, and the shoulder, the hood pull over. You're not sure whether he's been a teenage, emo type of guy, or he's really taking this whole black robe seriously. But she's like, Cassandra, my boy here just graduated from the Temple of Etheria. Would you mind giving him some encouraging words or a blessing or something, please?
So it's like, don't do drugs.
Solid, solid.
Don't. Thank you. You hear that? Cassandra, the demigod, says don't do drugs. And half the crowd cheer and half the crowd moan. Yeah. So this type of scene repeats again and again. I imagine. So I think of the Beatles. People just crowded around them, wanted their attention all the time at the height of their fame. You youngins might not remember who the Beatles are. But I'm sure you're familiar with them and how popular they were. In fact, I wasn't. I was too old even for 50-year-old Malcolm. Beatles were never a thing. Okay, so you push your way through, go back and forth. I will say, next, there's lots of other rich people vying for your attention.
Oh, I'll get us a few more.
Make me 3 sleight of hand checks.
Alright, they can't all be bad.
Roll me 66, and that's the amount of money, extra money you got in gold pieces. And I'm assuming you're just picking on the rich people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so yep, add another 17 to the loot. Maybe you guys don't need to get the Ultros. Maybe you can just go here and raise enough money to buy whatever you need. This robs the city blind. Okay, so you make your way up to the academy. The academy's got some security around it, so they let you in and they close the gates behind you. And Orc Mage greets you at the gates once the riffraff is still there. They're still like putting their arm throughs and they're trying to grab you. And some of them get an arm on you, but you just kind of slap it away. It's getting a little uncomfortable. But a half orc dressed in mage robes comes up to you and says, "Oh, hello. You're the great wizard Crow, are you not?"
Yep, that's me. Hi.
Well, we've heard of your deeds. We've heard that even death is no impediment to you. We've heard of your magical abilities, and quite frankly, we've been trying to test our intellect about someone as wise as yourself. Would you kindly join us in the debate hall, and perhaps we could have some discussions about the nature of things? Your friends... looks around. They don't look as intellectual as I've heard their powers lie elsewhere, but they can come join as well if they like. But please, Crow, you are our guest of honor. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Oh, awesome.
Good luck. Good luck, love. And I'll give her a bardic inspiration where she goes.
You see, this is why we hold you in such high esteem. The intellectuals among us don't need luck. Just brains. He kind of turns his nose down at you, Nix. But, yeah, bardically inspired regardless.
Is he wearing anything like a hat or glasses or...
No. He looks on the younger side for an academic, maybe about 40, and he's just wearing a simple robe.
Is he carrying a book? Does he have...
Nope.
No.
You might, wizard robes has pockets if you wanted to.
Is he walking or standing at the moment?
He's kind of walking and fussing over Crow.
I just want to use my telekinesis to pull his robe down so he trips.
When you say down, you mean down just around his ankles, or is this a full frontal
So,
situation?
like, no, pull it down so his foot steps on it and he like falls forward, falls on his face.
Okay. What's your spell DC? We'll do it that way.
That's a good question. 15.
Okay, so I'm going to say he's a... Oh, he's an academic. He's not dexterous at all. So I'm going to give him -2 to this roll. And he needs to beat, was it a 17? 15. He stumbles and falls, but doesn't fall over. I told the maid not to use so much starch on my robes. My apologies. And he continues walking. It's worth a try. Well, and he brings you into a classic Yep. Finn?
Yeah, before she walks in, Finn's gonna pat Crow in the back and wish her good luck and then cast Enhance ability.
Okay.
Ooh, what does that
So
do?
you're enhanced and you're bardically inspired. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And he brings you into a hall, a classic academic hall, and you see lots of high-ranking mages wearing, very fancy robes, and a lot of dirty students in the back as well. As well, we'd just like to welcome Crow and friends, I guess, to the Hall of Debates. And I have a question for you, and we're really fascinated to get your thoughts on this, Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the famed ship that brought the Dragon Lord, Adonis Neurodragon, from the Old Lands to the lands of Thylia was called the Valorous. Now, the Valorous had 60 oars, a great prow, and a single mast. Over the centuries it has decayed, and the Neurodragon's family removed the old oars and planks, replacing it with newer and stronger timber. They replaced the mast when it was cracked in a storm, and they replaced the prow when the ship ran aground. After 5 centuries, every single piece of the Valorous has been replaced. My question for you, Crow the Wise, is the Valorous now the same ship that once carried Adonis Neurodragon? Or is she a different vessel? What are your thoughts?
Huh. Well, I really think this digs more into the value of a name rather than the value of what the actual ship is, to be honest with you. But so long as the ship is called the Valorous, it is the Valorous. That is simply how it is. Regardless of whether you're changing out the parts, it doesn't matter.
The name remains the same, that is true. I'll put it this way, let's assume that the Valorous run aground and some work needed to be done on the bow of the ship, some planks replaced. Is it the same ship that Adonis Neurodragon rose to the new lands?
Yes, I believe so. This actually brings up, again, like I said, the value of what we name things. We name our children when they are born, and they grow and change with time, but their name still remains the same, right?
That is interesting. A baby, every part of its being is remarkably different to that creature as an adult. So to answer so just to clarify, is the ship having every bit of its place repassed the same ship that Adonis Neurodragon drove that day 500 years ago? Is it the same ship even though every part has been replaced?
Yep.
Oh,
It's it's very much the same as when cities are replaced over time. It's the same thing. It's the same name. It's the same place.
this is
Maybe
why,
different points in time.
and this is why we wanted to have you here. Such insightful insight. A lot cleverer than the DM who accidentally copied over some things that weren't relevant to my tale.
The good thing I didn't read it. I didn't even see it. Oh god.
Well, Machion, you've had your chance with the wise crow. Might I ask you a question? My name is Chalcedon, and you see a very regal-looking noble elf address you. Might I pose a similar matter to test your intelligence, my dear crow?
Okay. Okay.
Do you mind if I call you my dear crow? Would you prefer Miss or Mrs. or Mr. Miss? What would you prefer I call you?
I'm fine with whatever you want to call me.
Okay. Miss Crow. Here is another question to test that noodle of yours. Pythor. Oh, God bless Pythor. The gods bless Pythor. Pythor bless himself. Pythor, he is given so much. But Pythor in his stronger days was in a foot race with the tortoise. Now Pythor, being the arrogant so-and-so that he was, insists the tortoise starts ahead of him by 300 feet. If we were to suppose that each racer starts running at the same constant speed, one very fast and one very slow, then after some finite time has passed, Pythor would have run that 300 feet, bringing him to the tortoise's starting point. And during this time, the tortoise has run a much shorter distance of only 30 feet. It will take Pythor further time to catch up that 30 feet, by which time the tortoise will have moved even further ahead. And it takes more time for Pythor to reach the third point, while the tortoise continues to maintain his lead. Thus, whenever Pythor arrives somewhere the tortoise has been, he still has some distance to go before the tortoise, before he can catch the tortoise, despite running much faster. Clearly, this means that Pythor will never catch the tortoise. How can you explain this paradox? No, bad copying. That's the next question, so ignore the Sphinx thing. We'll get there in a sec.
Oh, that's a weird one.
So by my very logical argument, whenever Pythor reaches a place the tortoise has been, the tortoise has moved on. And no matter how often King Pythor, however fast he runs, the tortoise will always move just a little bit ahead of him. Thus, Pythor will never catch the tortoise. Please explain.
Just with the description, it almost sounds as if time is affecting them differently, to be honest with you. I would be inclined to agree that Pythor will never catch the tortoise.
Have you seen how fast Pythor would run? Have you seen how slow a tortoise? Are you claiming now that a tortoise would not outrun Pythor?
I'm saying that the tortoise would outrun Pythor if time is affecting Pythor differently.
Why would time affect Pythor differently?
Because I guess the explanation, it sounds just like Pythor is almost slowing down in time. I know it says that he is moving at the same speed, but it doesn't really mention how time is affecting him, if that makes any sense to you. Let's see here. Yeah, it's almost as if something is holding Pythor back.
Well, my understanding is he's running just as quick, But whenever he gets to a place where the tortoise was, the tortoise has moved on, even just a little bit. And you can extrapolate this over infinite time and he will never catch the tortoise. Do any of your companions perhaps have thoughts on this matter? Feel free to chime in if you like, guys. Me, myself, Malcolm, I do not know the answer to this. It is a paradox. So feel free to interject if you want.
No way that I know that he could do that if he's running laps. 300 feet. It's only going 30 feet. If the lap is less than that, then you're basically crossing around and passing the tortoise.
But whenever he gets to the place where the tortoise was, the tortoise has moved on.
Yes, because the tortoise is 30 feet ahead of that lap, basically. Tortoise. So if you start any kind of lap of a race, you can do the whole lap of 300 feet. By the time the tortoise had to go 30 feet. So then you run. Basically you're passing him is what I'm trying to say.
But whenever he gets to the point of passing him, the tortoise has already moved on. The tortoise should always stay ahead.
Bring him to our starting point turns. Further ahead.
Is right. It's a tricky one.
This assumes that no one can ever catch anyone because there's always molecules and distance between them. Though he may have him in his hands, he has not caught the tortoise. It is not a matter of how fast they are moving. It is impossible for anything to catch anything else.
One of the students throws a copper piece in your direction next. Do you catch it?
Yep.
The crowd laughs. You literally just caught something.
But
Fuck these guys.
But the copper piece is not moving or alive. I am not chasing it.
The other way I can think it happens would be somehow the tortoise is being pushed by Pythor. So I'm gonna think out loud, guys, just because it helps me. But
Sure.
Pythor allows to head start of 300 feet. Okay. If we suppose that each racer starts running at constant speed, well, that's one problem. But okay. Well, one very fast, one very slow. We're assuming Pythor is one going faster, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yep.
No, we know he is because at every 300 feet, Pythor moves. The tortoise moves 30 feet.
Yeah. That's the challenge, though. If we're 300 feet or 30 feet, then Pythor's going faster. Then the next time we go again, Pythor should pass him because he's only going 30 feet for 300. Pythor, it's the constant speed part has to change. Because if he's going constant speed, he wouldn't have gone 300 feet in the time that the turtle took to go 300 feet. So he must have slowed down. Otherwise, he couldn't have gone 300 feet for 30 feet again. It's impossible.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it also depends on like if the foot race actually has a goal or not, right? If we're talking about just running around forever, there's always going to be distance between the two of them, right? Because I think you're kind of onto something with the laps idea. If they are running around in a circle forever, the turtle always looks like it's ahead. It doesn't matter how many laps that Pythor's done.
Right.
if there's no set goal, they're just running forever.
No endpoint.
Well,
That's
the
what was
way
first.
I read it is so the tortoise starts 300 meters ahead, and Pythor is or feet, and Pythor is 300 feet behind. So Pythor runs the 300 feet and stops, but then the tortoise has gone 30 feet. So Pythor runs 30 feet, but since the tortoise is still moving, it's moved 30 feet. But since he's stopping every time where the turtle was, isn't he just going to infinitely chase the turtle then?
So yeah, so
But
you
that will
go ahead.
infinitely get a smaller distance. This is what I was talking about with
Yeah.
catching. The molecules will never truly touch. You will never
You're
be
doing the
locked.
yeah. You're thinking that half, the half, the half. It's a
Mhm.
paradox. Called something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called now.
I know.
Yeah.
This is very
I
much the
don't- I
half
don't-
of a half of a half of a half type of problem. It's never equals
Yeah.
zero.
Never touch.
Yeah.
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 That's just how I read it.
But that doesn't really work because of size. Like you said, you can never go half and half and half. That's in possibility. You can't really go half and half and half. And in a race, you can't go half and half and half. So that's not the without with if you're going at constant speed, both of them going for the same amount of time, you're not going to go half. You're going to go different more than half. Right? The only reason why the half and the half is a paradox is because you can, in theory, get smaller and smaller and smaller. You can't actually go a half every time. So in a race like this, I don't think that would fit, would it?
Well, plainly in a race, Pythor is going to destroy the tortoise, right?
Yeah.
Literally goes 10 times as fast. But you still have to resolve this paradox somehow.
Must be
What
magic.
I'm saying though.
Well,
Magic!
The
There we
main
go.
thing with,
I think.
well, no, the main part of the problem is the last paragraph where it says Pythor arrives somewhere where the tortoise has been, which makes me believe that since he's getting to where the tortoise has been, since the tortoise is still moving, then that's how I read it.
Right. He has to have stopped. Okay, so
he's
the speed is constant. Go ahead.
The way the question is worded is that he's not catching the tortoise; he's catching where the tortoise was at the time of starting running.
Yeah.
So by the time he gets to where the tortoise was, the tortoise has already moved forward.
Right.
And then he just keeps doing that infinitely. Whether he's running faster or not, he only goes to where the tortoise was.
Right. If his speed is constant, unless he's stopping, like you're saying, or unless he laps him, it's impossible.
Yeah.
There's two ways I can think of where you could basically run 10 times faster and not pass you. Now, I get the half, but you're not going half. You're going past. Right. Yeah. So it has to be either he's stopping. Okay, at the point of like you're saying, at the point
where the tortoise was,
and then not start like basically if you're a sprinter and not a marathon runner, or the whole tortoise and hare story, right?
Yeah.
If the hare is basically stopping and taking a nap every time you get to where they were, you'll never catch them.
Yeah.
No matter how fast you go, to get to that one spot. So it has to be that. It has to be they're stopping and resting, if you will, eating a hamburger. I don't know.
An ox burger.
Drinking? No, he's drinking. That's what he's doing. Come on, he's
drinking.
He's going as fast as he can to that spot. He stops and drinks.
Because he's an alcoholic. We
already know that. You solved it.
Yeah, and the thing it only says Pythor arrives where the tortoise has been. It never says he arrives where the tortoise is.
Right. I mean, if you're going twice, yeah, you're going short distance basically.
Yeah.
If you go 300 feet, the full farther distance, you have to pass him. You're only going for 30 feet.
If you wanted to catch the tortoise, he'd have to go 330 feet, not 300.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. That's the way I see it. It's worded in the paradox that he goes to where the tortoise has been, not to where the tortoise is.
Yeah, I like it.
It's actually based, I looked it up before, about one of Zeno's famous paradoxes. And the title, it says, I'll link it, it says, this is how physics, not math, finally resolves Zeno's famous paradox, the paradox of motion. Yeah, I'll link it. Feel free to read it. It's complicated. Because, you know,
First the break.
the logic states about this half movement thing, that is true. That makes sense. Well, it seems to make sense. But on the other hand, someone running 300 feet 10 times as fast as someone else is plainly going to overtake him.
Oh,
So-
100%.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah. Well, some fascinating discussions there. It is truly a head scratcher, no doubt. We thank you for your input. There's some interesting ideas. I'm not sure if we resolved it, but maybe one day. The famous Chalcedon paradox. And a gnome comes, "Oh, Chalcedon! You're so full of yourself. You're not going to get a paradox named after you. Anyway, hello. My name is Herodotus." And you see a gnome priest approach. "I have a question for you, oh mighty, what's your name? Crow. Sorry, absent-minded professor and all that. Are you ready for another one?"
Sure.
And Malcolm's going to read this in
More.
his normal voice, otherwise he's just going to shred his vocal cords. So the gnome says, "A sphinx captures the young crowned prince of Metros. His mother comes to the sphinx and pleads for the return of her son. The sphinx replies that he will only return the prince safely if the mother can guess correctly whether or not he will indeed return the boy." Yeah, so I think my internet froze for a second. That's the question. What happens when a man stops talking?
Yeah,
Was
what's
it the
the
gods?
problem?
Or the damn Wi-Fi
Magic.
company? Okay, I'll start again. So this is a gnome talking. I'm not going to talk in his voice because I'll just shred my own voice. So a sphinx captures the young crowned prince of Metros. His mother comes to the sphinx and pleads for the return of her son. The sphinx replies that he will only return the prince safely if the mother can guess correctly whether or not he will indeed return the boy. What is the problem here? As it turns out, there is no problem if the mother guesses that the sphinx will return him. If she is right, the boy is returned. If she is wrong, the sphinx keeps him. However, if she answers that the sphinx will not return him, we end up with a paradox. If she is right, and the sphinx never intended to return her child, then the sphinx has to return him. But in doing so, he breaks his word and contradicts the mother's answers. On the other hand, if she is wrong and the sphinx actually did intend to return the boy, then the sphinx must keep him, even though he did not intend to do so, therefore also breaking his own word. That takes a bit more mental gymnastics, so I'll paste it once again, and I pasted it properly for once. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this, Crow?
Hmm. Well, I would suppose the only actual correct answer would be if she says that he is going to be returned. Because otherwise it literally seems like he breaks his word, and as we know, we can't do that.
Yes, but if she guesses that the Sphinx will not return him, but the Sphinx, if she is right,
It only looks like there's one actual answer here, to be honest with you. I understand the intention of what you're trying to say, but I don't think sphinxes are able to go back on their word. So the other two options are practically null.
but what? How does it work though? The Sphinx has to go against what he said he would do by the paradox itself.
Yeah, he's not capable of doing that, though.
Why not? People break their word all the time.
I don't think sphinxes are bound by the same rules that we are.
What if we replace the word Sphinx with some other less magical beast, like Like a kobold, for example.
My whole thing stems from the fact that they've captured this young prince alive. You would never usually capture something alive if you have no intention of returning it at some point, whether that be for something else.
You
Usually it's like a
understand.
kidnapping case.
You understand this is a thought experiment, do you not?
Yes.
So don't get hung up on the prince and kidnapping. Get hung up on how the Sphinx, no matter what the goblin or the kobold or whatever it does, ends up going back on its word, even though it didn't want to. Any further thoughts, Grow?
It seems like the other two options, he just breaks his word, so there's no point in doing the in choosing anyways.
Ah. So the Sphinx, by his own strict appliance to his own logic, gets fouled by his own logic. Is that what you're saying? It's a foolish request for the Sphinx to even offer in the first place.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Interesting thoughts once again. Wise and mighty Crow. Congratulations. Lots to think about there. Oh, will you shut up, Kirados? And a tiefling comes up called Atreus. Atreus. Like Atreus like this. So just shut up. We have one more question to ask you. Now, this is a matter of what is the nature of good and evil? When you get right down to the brass tacks, are they metaphysical properties that can be measured or changed? For example, if a man commits murder, his neighbor may call him evil. We might rightly say that he has evil properties. Hoping to atone for this act, the man offers to pay the victim's family gold pieces to compensate for their loss. Now, let's say that the victim's family is satisfied by the payment, and they forgive him, saying that he is no longer evil. The man had evil properties before he made the payment, but now he does not. If properties and objects cannot be changed or destroyed but merely transferred, where did the evil properties go? Are the coins now evil? Is the family evil? Where did the evil go? Paste it once again. Oh, that's not a very good copy and paste job. Ah, my PDF crashed. Let's try that again. There we go.
Well, first of all, I'd like to state that I don't believe that the family actually has a right to say that he is no longer evil. The right to say that would be belonging to the person who is murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are out of the equation in this, that evil actually stays. I think kind of what we're talking about is more so the idea of atonement and whether that actually works. When you look at it, atonement is really just a way to soothe your own ego. Those evil actions have never actually gone away. They are still there. It is a way for your ego to sort them away and make yourself and convince yourself that you are now good. It's
those evil properties are still there. You're covering your own ego with something that's saying that you are good. To be honest, more so these questions are really more so for the gods, I feel. I wouldn't say that the properties of good or evil apply to objects. I could use a sword for good. I could use a sword for evil. It does not make the sword good or evil. We apply the good and evil philosophies to ourselves. If I were to go out and commit a bunch of murders, but I do them in a righteous way, as in getting revenge for somebody, am I good or am I evil? Is really the question. It's hard because good and evil reflect on your own view of yourself. It's not just the view of others, if that makes any sense.
If you steal for a good cause, it's not stealing.
From the resident thief.
While you were saying this, Crow, you have the rapt attention. I don't say as Malcolm. That was very eloquently put, so well done for that. The tiefling responds, well, that is very interesting thought process. So you're saying that the objects themselves are not evil, so it wasn't transferred to the coins or the knife, but the person who did this heinous act, would you consider him evil? Imagine the worst possible motives. Is that man evil?
I would still say yes.
Is there any possibility that the man would no longer be evil, be atoned, in your words, for his sin? Keep in mind that the one person who could forgive him is dead.
I feel like in our afterlife, it would be the decision of whoever he has murdered. So if that person in the afterlife takes a look at this person's actions over the course of their life after, and they've decided that their actions actually equal them, then that's fine. Then they're good. But in that lifetime, until you've actually gotten to the afterlife, you're still in some portions evil. But I feel like everybody has a little bit of good and evil. It is a balance.
Well, I'm sure you've maybe, stealing the odd copper coin here and there, perhaps, given the wrong change, not informing the shopkeep that they gave you an extra copper piece. I'm sure you've told white lies in your time, just harmless little lies, like a girl who's put far too much makeup on her face and she looks like an absolute clown. But not to break her feelings, you say she looks beautiful. It's technically a lie. Do those things carry with us? Are we evil for doing these things? If lying is wrong, if lying is evil, and stealing is evil, then we've done evil acts.
Those things are, like I said, like an imbalance. But ultimately, we don't have control over whether we are good or evil. It is the decision that's made in the afterlife, if that makes any sense.
Oh, we are constrained by society's current definitions around these things. Like, I read this story about this place called medieval England. And apparently, a great source of entertainment was you'd put a bunch of cats in a giant cauldron, and then you'd set the cauldron alight so it'd get hotter and hotter and hotter. And people found it absolutely hilarious watching these cats trying to escape the cauldron. It was quite the source of entertainment. I read of this place called Modern Times in the year 2000, and with such an act to be considered abhorrent. Those poor cats. So very much constrained by the morals of the day. I'll pose one last question to you. So this man killed this young lady and has to live with that for his life. If he then becomes a great man, let's say a great doctor, and dedicates his life to helping the poor, and literally saves, let's say, hundreds of others' lives, is he still considered evil? Because in the balance, he's plus 999 lives.
That evilness does not go away. Like I said, it's a balance. So he may be morally good at some points, but those evil actions still don't go away. We still carry them with us. It's like how I don't know if this has ever affected you, but when I'm laying in bed sometimes and I think back and for some reason I get flashes of really bad or awkward memories that I've done, those things don't go away. They're still there. I'm still cringing at things I've said 20 something years ago.
You see not lots of nods, not the least of which is the DM nodding along as well. No, it's very interesting thoughts. Do any of your companions have any further thoughts on this matter?
The lady that he murdered, were they a good person or were they evil? It's kind of on perspective. Like if she was a mass murderer and they that person killed them, then wouldn't that make them good?
You answer your own question. If it was a mass murderer, what then? Another place from a place called India and this place called Urith. A Mother Teresa figure. I've thoughts about Mother Teresa, but let's just assume Mother Teresa is a good person. So if she was a Mother Teresa type figure, would that be an evil act? And if she was a mass murderer, would that be an evil act? Your thoughts, Cassandra?
Well, personally, my thoughts on good and evil is all on perspective. Depends which side of the situation you're on as to if it's perceived as good or evil, I guess.
Don't duck the question, Cassandra. Answer your own question. If she kills a mass murderer, is that an evil act? If she kills Mother Teresa, is that an evil act?
For my personal opinion, no.
No to both?
To killing like a mass murderer.
And Mother Teresa type figure?
Yes.
Both are evil acts. Murder is murder is murder is murder.
Murder is murder.
Would you kill a person if it meant saving your family?
Oh god, you're asking the wrong person. Yes. As Cassandra, yes.
Oh, well, yeah, you ask us, Cassandra. Yeah, well, yeah. You're literally almost going to do that, right? No, Python survived. Well, these are very interesting thoughts. Does anybody have any thoughts about this nature of good and evil?
I would say that evil are acts, not people. So they are metaphysical properties. They cannot be changed. If people do enough evil acts or a bad enough evil act, then people don't want them around. They may not want them to exist. But it doesn't make the person evil. It makes all the acts they did evil, and it makes them not have any value.
So people are
the act
not
itself is
evil, but they do evil things.
Exactly.
Interesting. Next, do you have thoughts? Any thoughts? Maybe related to this would also be good. Not just in general. Do you have thoughts? Do you have thoughts on the subject we're talking about next?
Anyone is capable of great evil. Anyone is capable of good. but there's more evil in the world than there is good.
It's a very pessimistic viewpoint, Nex. Are you looking to redress the balance?
No. Not much I can do about it.
Interesting. Kythion, what are your thoughts?
On that question, I think the same as Nex in that we can both do good and evil. And I don't think that either of them go anywhere. You just live with both of them. And there's no real way to wash the ledger, I guess. It's just you live with what you've done.
The orc who initially started this debate says, "Oh, a most fascinating discussion. A round of applause for our honoured guests." And everybody gives you a nice clap. And we have a reward, an offer of thanks to you, Crow, for your excellent thoughts. You do indeed get claps. And he hands you over 6 spell scrolls. 2 level 1, 2 level 2, and 2 level 3. You can cast level 3 spells right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So feel free to choose whatever 2 first level, 2 second level, 2 third level spells you want.
Wow.
That's pretty fucking good. Cannot complain with that.
Oh, once again, if you can get it anywhere, you can get it in
Anything you
Mitros.
want. The world is your oyster, Crow.
Wow, I'm just looking. This is a record for the amount of low number of rolls we had. We had Cassandra with his terrible insight. Crow deciding who she was. And then history check. And then it's just basically a bunch of sleight of hands as Nex is stealing from the rich. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So we'll get into the other bits and pieces next week, the things to do in the Mitros. But it sounds like you guys are hanging around for the games. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Miss Crow or Miss Corin or Miss Bowserbeth. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Okay. Take care, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Go.
Bye.